all you need. You need to only listen when you're chanting. That's all you need to do. Okay, so make sure that you spend some time chanting because it's a form of meditation and it's very, very powerful. If you do it every day, you will see a marked difference in your concentration because you're just spending at least those 10 minutes meditating and clearing your mind and purifying your heart because you're listening to the transcendental sound which the gurus have given to us in the scriptures. Okay, so make sure you chant every day. Chatushloki, I had asked you all to revise. Last class, we went through all the stories.
I have got the 4 consciousness.
You have a poor quality net?
No, ma'am. I have written the 4 consciousness.
Oh, you have. Okay, good. So we can start the class with Niranjan explaining to us whatever he has researched about the 4 types of consciousness. Okay, so let's begin the class with that. Yes, Niranjan, can I hear from you?
I haven't got any information, but only the names.
Okay. Tell me the names of the 4 stages of consciousness.
Phenomenological, semantic, physiological, and functional. I got these 4.
Okay, what are they? Can you repeat?
Phenomenological.
Okay. Then?
The semantic. Physiological. And functional. Ma'am, I will send you the first one in the in the chat box.
Yes.
I also don't know what is it.
In the chat box. Okay, fine. All right, so that's good. But the names that I have got are slightly different. Anybody else try to find out about the stages of consciousness? I'm sure they are related to the ones I'm talking about, Niranjan. Anybody else found out the 4 stages of consciousness? So in this chart, you can see, children, I want you to understand that consciousness is our awareness, okay? And it is related to the soul. The soul becomes conscious, okay? How conscious is our self. Soul is self. So the body is not our self. Remember? I hope you all remember that the first lesson we learned in the Bhagavad Gita is that this body is not us, right? We are actually the soul or the consciousness, the jiva. All right, so in this picture you can see that these are the 4 names which are given in black bold. The first basic form of consciousness is when you are awake. Okay, so this must be related to the physiological what Niranjan has said, where you're just aware of your body. You are awake and you are aware through your senses. Only you are aware of this world through your senses. That is called That is called Jagriti. The first stage of consciousness is called Jagriti, when you are awake and you are conscious of this world through your body, that is through your senses. And then there is another state of consciousness when you are asleep. So when you sleep, you're seeing in the second picture, you can see you're seeing so many dreams, and you don't realize, your body is not experiencing. Suppose you're dreaming that you're swimming, you feel that you're really swimming, but is your body really in water and swimming? It's not. So this swapna, that is called swapna state of consciousness, where our consciousness is only related to our subtle body. A subtle body is made up of our mind, intelligence, and false ego. The gross body is made up of the 5 elements, right? Fire, earth, water, air, and ether. That is a gross body which we touch and feel, which has got sense organs. We also have another body which goes with the soul when we die. That is a subtle body which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So in the Swapnavastha, our consciousness is only, aware of the subtle body. The gross body is not involved only. So you can see in this Swapnavastha, we can see that the arrow is pointing at only up to the subtle body, the awareness is there, consciousness. When you go deeper into sleep, right, then there are suddenly no dreams. As you go deeper, you don't have that rapid eye movement. This in psychology, they call it REM. When we sleep, our eyes will be moving because we're seeing dreams. That is rapid eye movement. When we go into deep sleep, even seeing dreams. At that time, our consciousness is not even in the gross body. Our consciousness is not in the subtle body, but it is just within the soul. It's just there within the soul itself is a consciousness. You're totally quiet. There is no thought. You're in deep sleep, and that is called a sushupti. Many people who meditate, they are actually aiming to reach the sushupti stage. But there is a fourth stage, which is even higher, where the consciousness is not just in the within the soul or subtle or gross body. You can see the fourth arrow. It is in a spiritual realm where the consciousness is rooted to a higher world, which is a transcendental or spiritual realm, and that is called Turyavastha. Very high devotional people or who are into high spiritual level only can reach that Turyavastha where they are in complete bliss. Nothing affects them. They are always in connection with God, and they are always in connection with Krishna, or whichever belief that the God that they believe, that form. For us, we believe in Krishna as a personality. So we have Sat, Chit and Anand. So the soul or the consciousness is continuously, with Krishna. And that is, chanting helps to reach the Turyavastha. You will find that if you chant every day, you will slowly through the day, you will be able to, like how Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, think of me all the time. How do you do that? It's difficult. You have to practice. Krishna says you can only do through abhyas. So many shlokas, Krishna tells us that only through practice we can reach that high spiritual state where we are always in bliss. That is called a Turyavastha. So what are the four types of consciousness? I'll just tell you once, and then I want you to raise your hand and you must tell me what are the four stages of consciousness. Somebody must raise your hand and tell me. I'll just revise once. Listen carefully. The first stage of consciousness is Jagriti, where your awareness is, in the body level. Your sense organs are aware. You know what you're seeing, the world around you. You're listening. You're touching. You can taste. Your sense organs to the body level of consciousness is the first stage, Jagriti. Then you go to sleep, then the consciousness is only aware of the subtle body, which is the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So there you're dreaming, you dream, the body is not involved, but the subtle body is involved. Then the third stage is when you go into deep sleep, no more dreams also. Your consciousness is not related to the body also, not related to subtle body also, but it is there just within the soul. It's so deep. You're in deep sleep, no dreams, nothing. That is called Sushupti. Then that is very quiet, peaceful state of mind. And then the highest state is when you are in Turyavastha, Turya. That is when you are not, your consciousness is not in the gross body or subtle body or within your Jivatma, but you are in touch with Paramatma, where your mind is, your whole consciousness is completely engaged in Krishna. That's the Krishna consciousness or the Turyavastha or spiritual realm. Okay. Can anybody just explain to me whatever I explained about the four stages of consciousness? Who would like to try? Yes, Arya. Arya, can you explain the four stages of consciousness?
Yes, ma'am. The first one is Jagriti, which is like consciousness through the gross material. Then it is Swapna, which is like to like the subtle material, like like the subtle material. And then the third one is Shushupti, which is like consciousness where it's not there, it's not like related to the subtle minded or the material world. Then the third one is the Turiya, which is mainly like consciousness to the spiritual realm.
Right. Very nice. Anybody else would like to just give it one try? Would you like to explain? Nisha or Arav, Anushka, anybody would like to? Niranjan, would you like to explain these four stages? Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Niranjan, are you saying something?
Yes, ma'am. I haven't really understood it that much
You didn't
correctly.
understand. So,
Correctly.
you didn't understand it properly, Niranjan?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what you do is you have to, most of the teachings in Gita, even if we feel we understood, we don't really understand because it's all, concepts which need deep philosophical thought. That's why it's called after Shravanam. First you listen. to whatever you're learning, and then you need to do, manan or reflection. You need to spend time in really thinking about what you have learned. So you have to sit and really meditate on these. What is this consciousness? You will not understand just by listening to the word consciousness. You have to feel it. You have to experience it. So you have to sit, and your aim is to reach the Turiya stage, which happens through chanting. In this Kali Yuga, the only way we can reach that high state of your mind, where your mind is in touch with Paramatma, your Jiva is in touch with Paramatma, you're in the spiritual world. That is the highest state. It's called Turyavastha. Below that is Sushupti, where you're not in the spiritual world, but you're not, your mind is very quiet. It's not related to the material world. It's not related to your own thoughts and dreams and desires and your subtle mind, but it is just, just quiet. That is Sushupti. Then we have a little lower state where your mind is continuously thinking of this and that, but your body is not experiencing it. It's only your intelligence and the mind and intelligence are engaged. So your consciousness is there up to the level of your subtle body. Okay, that is Swapna Avastha. We are seeing Swapna, you see Swapna and dreams. The body is not, feeling all those things, but your mind is completely feeling as if it's really happening. Swapna Avastha. Then Jagrati is the body consciousness, the normal, when we are awake. Now we are all in mostly Jagrati, but people who are highly spiritual, they will be in Turyavastha, whether they are sleeping, whether they are awake. All the time, there are people who have reached a highly spiritual stage where they even sleeping or eating or drinking or awake, or all the time they are in touch with Paramatma. They are, their Jiva is aware of the Paramatma and they are in bliss. That is the highest stage of consciousness. So Niranjan, you will need to meditate a little. I'm very happy to see that you're able to say that I can't understand it clearly, because it is a very difficult concept. All the entire Gita, even if you read the Gita so many times, you again read it, you will find some other new meaning. You will get a deeper meaning. That's why Gita is so special. And I have been doing the Gita course for at least 25 times. I'm teaching you now this Gita, but on basis of so many different classes, you can see from my slides. But every time I feel I want to understand it better. And the same shloka I'm listening to, the same thing. And even Gita itself keeps repeating so many concepts. Still you feel you can't understand really, because it's such a deep concept and it's actually the aim of life. Why are we having a human birth? We are given this intelligence, which is different from animals who only eat, sleep, defend themselves and mate. Why are we given this superior consciousness? Because God wants us to realize Him. And we have to spend time for spiritual pursuit of understanding all these deep, profound concepts, rather than only doing material things for our body. Okay. So Niranjan, do take some time to understand this. I'll share the slides with you. Then we have soul and super soul differences we learned last time. We did up to verse 4 last time. Okay, the 13th chapter. Today we are not doing the Krishna stories immediately, because I want to complete chapter 13 and I want you to do the quiz of chapter 13. If there's time, we will do the Krishna story also. Okay. So in this verse, once you've understood consciousness and once you've understood soul and super soul, as you can see, maybe it's coming in the next slide, then you have got the knowledge. That is the Gyan which Krishna talks about. You will get the Gyan if you truly understand what is body, which is the field of activity. Remember, Kshetra. The body is the Kshetra, or the field of activity. The mind, and then the Jiva and the Paramatma, both are the knowers of the body, which is called Kshetragya, the knower of the body. The meeting ends, children. All of you, please join again. There are only 10 minutes. And there is a lot of knowledge in these verses, so please join again. So last class we understood about Kshetra, we understood about Kshetragya, knower of the body and the body. These things again and again, if you listen and it helps you to contemplate and understand better. Here Krishna is saying that the knowledge of the field and activities and knowledge about the knower of these activities is described by various stages in Vedas. In Vedas, you will find more and more lots of explanation about all this. Then from verse 13, chapter 13, 6 and 7, Krishna is telling us that the five great elements, okay, which are the five great elements, which are, what are the five great elements? Fire, water, earth, ether, and air. The false ego, intelligence, and the unmanifested, the 10 senses, which are the sense organs and the sense objects, the mind, and desire, hatred, happiness, distress, all life symptoms, convictions, all these are the field of activities and its interactions. So when we talk about body, it's not only the body that you're feeling, but all these things are involved in the field of activity, kshetra. There are so many things. That's why this chapter is a bit tough to understand, because it's got a lot of knowledge which we need to think about to understand. How can I deeply understand this knowledge, which is a little difficult to gain? How can you understand? You can understand by cultivating some important qualities. How can you understand? Krishna tells us that in verse 8 to 12, Krishna tells us that we can understand this transcendental knowledge by cultivating some qualities. And then in the next chapter, next verse from 8 to 12, Krishna gives us a list of qualities, which 26 qualities actually. He gives us that we should try to have these qualities, and then when we have these qualities, we will be able to get knowledge more easily, because we are full of pride, we are full of so many, qualities which are not suitable to get this higher knowledge. To get this higher transcendental knowledge, we should have humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness both inside and outside, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of objects of sense gratification, not having desires to enjoy material joys when you know that it's all temporary, no false ego at all. You don't have a sense of identity because you know that my only true identity is that I'm a jiva. You don't have any other identity. Oh, I'm from a rich family. Oh, I'm so much knowledge, or I am an Indian, or I am a Hindu. No identity. Your only identity is I'm a jiva, and I am, my job is to love and do what the Paramatma wants. I am, and then when you think that you are surrendered to Paramatma, you feel that you are actually bound, but in reality, that's when you become free. Once you surrender to the Paramatma, you feel that you are actually being bound, but the truth is that you actually become free. And so the perception of evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, understanding that this world is full of birth, death, old age, disease, all are painful. Detachment, when you have a love for Krishna, you will automatically have detachment for the material world, because both of them cannot happen together. You cannot be attached to the material world and at the same time attached to Krishna, because they both cannot happen together. The more you develop love for Krishna and for the for Supreme Personality of Godhead, your mind is associated with spiritual world, you will be automatically detached. But that doesn't mean you will not do your work. Actually, what will happen, you will find out if you try, you will be able to do the work in the material world with more expertise. You'll be able to do all the things you should do with more perfection. If you detach yourself from the results and desires and attach yourself to Krishna, you will find miraculously that all the things that you need to do, you'll be able to do it very well, much better than before. If you start trying and practicing Krishna consciousness, you will discover that. You'll be free from entanglement with children, wife, home, all these, you won't be stressed because you don't have attachment. You'll be even-minded, and so you'll be, even if pleasant things happen, unpleasant things happen, you're even-minded. You're actually in bliss. You have constant, unalloyed devotion, and you're trying to live in a solitary place. That means you're silent. If something happens, someone said something. Oh, someone said something to me. Why did they say like that? And you start feeling bad about it. You won't have such emotions because you're detached from the general mass of people. If you look at the line here, general mass of people. You accept importance of self-realization. You realize that human body is given to this jiva because I have to realize myself. And you're in philosophical search of the absolute truth. And all these, Krishna is saying, I declare that when you have all these qualities, you will get the knowledge will come to you by itself, because you will be meditating, you will have experience of your jiva, you will experience how the jiva can be in connection with Paramatma. And just because you are listening to my lecture, it's not possible for you to gain that. You have to actually think about what you're learning in Gita and really ponder about it. Okay, children, so I request you all, and it's very good that you're coming to the class and trying to understand. It's a big step in your spiritual life, but it will really be successful only if you start practicing it. So in this, one of my Prabhujis had given a whole description of all these 26 qualities and the meaning. What is humility? Is not to want others to praise you. You know, you do something good, you want everyone to say, wow, wow, arey, wow, you've done such a wonderful job. And if nobody says that, you feel bad. Arey, nobody praised me, nobody honored me. So humility is when you don't have any anxiety that you want to be honored. You are prideless. You have no dambha, that is pride. You are non-violent. Now, very important, children, non-violence is not just killing or being violent. Non-violence is not even disturbing others by giving them any type of trouble. Not causing disturbance and trouble for others is non-violence, not just not killing. Tolerance. People will insult you. It doesn't affect you. You're in Suryavastha, you're with Krishna. You are simple. You know, the more spiritual you become very simple. You don't have any needs. You're so simple. I accept a spiritual master. You humbly, you realize that I don't know so much. I need to know. And you will reach out to spiritual masters with complete respect and, you know, a desire to learn and understand. You'll be clean. You'll be bathed. You'll keep your body clean. You'll keep your surroundings clean. You'll be a clean person in your mind. You won't have evil thoughts or jealous or envy or anything. Your mind will become so pure and clean. You'll be steady. You know, suppose you're sitting and studying, or you're doing your music, or you're doing some activity, you're learning dance or something. Your mind is steady. It's completely focused. You have self-control. You renounce all the sense objects. If you have a desire, remember there was a verse which said that you have a desire, it will make a cycle of you to run after it. Then either you'll be angry, you didn't get it, or your desire will grow, you become greedy, and then you will fall. You fall means you won't, you know, from the spiritual level, you will basically have to start from again, because you have lost it. Once you become angry, then you lose your control. Then the perception of evil, which means you regularly listen and you understand what is good, what is bad. You have a clearer understanding. You become detached. All these same qualities I told you, children, in this slide, it is explained with a lot more detail. And the last two are very important: even-mindedness and unalloyed devotion. Ananya bhakti. Ananya, nothing else, only pure bhakti. So when you're chanting also, you will find, actually, if you start chanting, you will find that you sit down to chant, you say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Chanting with your mouth, your mind will go here, your mind will go there. It's very difficult to bring your mind and, you know, ananya, with no other thought, only listening to that transcendental word is not easy at all. It requires a lot of practice. The mind is very difficult to control. So there are some more qualities given. And the most important quality, children, is Ananya Bhakti. That's why you're coming to the Gita class, to understand how to get Prem Bhakti for the Lord. That is the ultimate goal also. And the essential quality is also to accept a master. When you are, you know, and you don't have to struggle to, I need a spiritual master. The master will come when you, from your heart, you're ready for it. You will get a spiritual, God will give you a spiritual master who will guide you further. Okay, but whenever it is time, you will be having a spiritual, God will provide some sort of a bona fide master. Like for me, I'm reading Prabhupada's books, or I'm reading Bhumanda Swami's books. So they are masters through the books